We go to the Senzo Meyiwa Murder Trial now, which is continuing in the High Court in Pretoria, where a new witness, Sergeant Mandla Masondo, has taken the stand. Masondo is an expert in organized crime dealing with taxi violence. And as we know by now, a link has been made through cell phone records between Kelly Khumalo's phone and some of the accused. And Meyiwa was shot and killed in 2014 at the False home of Khumalo's mother. We have a senior reporter, Moloko Moloto, who is covering the trial. Moloko, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you. Of course, you had to sit through very finer details at the Senzo Meyiwa trial, with particularly the defense now poking holes into the state's witness, which is Masondo, in terms of the procedures and the contamination or protection of the scene, the arrest that was subsequently made. What are the latest there?
Good afternoon, Cindy. Well, the link that you made reference to between Kelly Khumalo as well as some of the accused specifically relates to accused number 5, Mr. Fizokuhle Ntuli, who we had already in court that the number that he owned, the cell phone number, telephoned Kelly Khumalo's number on the 2nd of August for the first time, 2014, and also the second call was made on the 15th of August of October, I beg pardon, in 2014, and on the 26th of October, that's when Senzo Meyiwa was killed. We don't know what the two were talking about. That's a separate matter. As for what transpired in court today, as you correctly said, Sergeant Mandla surname Masondo, thank you so much. He has taken to the witness stand. This is the officer who, together with some of his colleagues, in 2015, on the 9th of February, arrested accused number 3 in this trial, accused number 3, who was arrested in Cleveland. And he was arrested specifically with regard to the murder that happened in Alexandra. At that time, there was no indication whether he was linked to this particular Senzo Meyiwa murder. And according to Mr. Masondo, when they accosted him, he was walking out in the street with his girlfriend, and they then just allowed him to walk towards his place. That's when they arrested him at the gate, and they asked him to take them to his own room. This is Mr. Mncube, the same name of accused number 3. And when they arrived at his room, they asked him to search him, and to search his room, he agreed. And immediately, according to Masondo, they found a gun, a 9mm pistol, on top of a wardrobe, and they also found inside the magazine of the gun about 15 live ammunition, and the 16th one was in the chamber of the gun. Separately, he told the court that they found a blue or green box which contained I think about 12 mixed ammunition, and that's when they confiscated that particular firearm. They also confiscated his cell phone right there and there, and later they downloaded data and information. He says the idea was to link or to determine whether he is linked to that particular Alexandra matter, but also if there were other people. Now, importantly, there was a question asked to Masondo to say in court by Mr. Charles Mnisi, who represents Mr. Mncube, accused number 3. He said, is there a link between that firearm that you found in the room of Mr. Mncube as well as the murder that took place in Phosphorus, where we know Senzo Meyiwa was killed? Mr. Masondo responded by saying, no, if there was a link, I would have been able to determine. I thought that was a very important point to make, and therefore I suppose a lot of people, South Africans, will then be asking, how then do you link Mr. Mncube, who is accused number 3, on this or in this trial with the killing of Senzo Meyiwa? We will, of course, hopefully get to hear what the state's case is regarding that as the trial continues. But as of now, Mr. Masondo, the SAPS officer who arrested him in Cleveland, says he could not link that particular gun. And of course, we also heard from the defense lawyer, Mnisi, who was really trying to question whether Mr. Ncube was explained to about his rights when they arrested him, and even when they searched him. It also turns out that there was no warrant of search warrant and warrant of arrest, and he also obviously was arrested for that particular Alexandra matter, and then they also charged him for unlawful possession of firearm and ammunition.
Moloko, and this brings us back, I think, to the testimony that was given by Zandile Khumalo, right, in her week or two with her deposition, saying that she remembers 2 intruders and she cannot account for the other 3. What you are now saying is that even in the court, what they're trying to establish is to link accused number 3 to the Senzo Meyiwa trial, while he's got another matter which is at this stage, as far as we understand, unrelated, but he at this stage we cannot confirm that he was present on that fateful night when Senzo Meyiwa was killed.
Yes, it really is very interesting to say we have been hearing since this trial started that there were 2 intruders who got into the Khumalo house. However, there are 5 people in or on trial for this particular matter. And of course, some of them we understand at the time when Senzo Meyiwa was killed were already serving time. We don't know really what the state's case, how they are going to be linking this. But of course, there are very many other witnesses that the state is still going to call. But let's listen to the Mr. Masondo as he was giving evidence here today during the case, because up to so far he is the only witness who has taken to the stand. We heard, of course, from the state advocate, Mr. George Baloyi, indicating that today they are going to be dealing with ballistic evidence. They are also going to be dealing with the post-mortem and issues of the guns, as we have heard this particular witness talking to the issue of guns. So we don't know whether there's still going to be another witness today. Of course, we know Azandile Mshololo, when the court reconvenes at 2 o'clock, she's going to be now cross-examining Mr. Masondo. But let's listen to Mr. Masondo as he was giving evidence earlier.
Do you agree with me that as you proffered your testimony under oath there's nothing that you said with regard to the rights that are rising up here?
Well, if I may explain, I introduced ourselves.
Say.
As a police officer, when you introduce yourself.
No, let the witness give evidence. You've asked the question. When he answers, you're preventing him from doing that.
My question, sir, is do you agree with me? It's either yes, I agree with you, or no, I don't agree with you. If you need to explain, I'm going to request you and say, can you please explain this? But now the question that I'm asking you is, do you agree with me that you did not tell this court in your evidence in chief that you ever explained his rights?
No, I do agree with you.
Thank you.
The Senzo Meyiwa murder trial continues in the Pretoria High Court just after 2 o'clock. And we had eNCA senior reporter Moloko Moloto giving us an update what transpired in court with the South African Police Services Organised Unit Sergeant Mandla Masondo giving evidence and trying to link a third suspect or the accused to the actual crime, while he has been implicated in a separate matter so far. So all the details will be coming up just as soon as we can link up back to court.